Hello and welcome to the program One on One with Enoch. And today, as always, we are privileged to have the man, the investigative general, the man we call the vociferous journalist, Kwaku Annan, ace investigative journalist, a man with many talents. He's my guest today on Enoch Connect, and this show is going to be aired on the Frontline show that is on CTV. That is the Frontline show on CTV. So make a date and don't be late when the time is right. Do listen and subscribe to Frontline Ghana online and also on the Hop TV. My name is Enoch Ejo. So grateful that you've made time. We're going to be discussing issues of local, national, and international importance with regards to these prophecies that happened. Interestingly, all the prophecies that came up, none of them prophesy about Kwaku Annan, considering how he's vociferous. I was expecting to hear something about him, but I didn't hear anything like that. And also, with what is happening with the Venezuelan president and other matters arising. So it's going to be a packed show. This is the new year of our Lord 2026. Grateful that we have the man Kwaku Annan. Okay?
Yes, sir.
I'll put him to the name.
I'm on for say.
Now they're actually you don't yeah, now don't you?
I've been commenting about friends saying yet in Pompao.
Yes, for our very viewer no on Frontline YouTube channel no Bonnie Mayena Obiana Yawe nti by Frontline Ghana.
Sure, this program is also live on the Frontline Ghana and my CTV GH.
Very good. Okay. Very good. So one subscribe now. Bob Wayne now. One subscribe also to the Hop TV. Kwaku, yeah, best in some way Queen BNB Wakokodo na minim there. Be best in some room pa in the day ebubu yego. Na osire ebu isusu ma obeya ode asonjwe beba. Na obiala hwehwehwehwe na enim na watinya mase. Let's begin with Oye 31st in Commercial Kokodi.
Yeah.
We say Black Stars Oboko finals. We want to man can we say what some common why there Ajun baby in a way also Oboko finals. As whether quarter finals or semi finals or finals or 161 council Oboko finals. We say Black Stars won't do baby akra. We say some paying for be and no bon we so hu jeta na bobi dami se hu ni nia kokodo 31st night. Kano, don't prophecies in there for our show, man.
Great one.
But try number one of those man.
Yes. Sir, what's in the casa idea? Good one. Okay. To start with, my greetings to listeners and viewers of Hop TV, the Frontline Ghana, and my CTVGH. All these networks in Amichicha, viewers and listeners are mostly now. Yes. Meka say, sir, and come share. Basa we a free atrofo nada and the brabafo kushifo thieves and criminals and rogues, rats, ragamuffins, matete bebre na obi nipa bi sene sene bi amame. Nam say na wo sene amame say o say obi say wo kan na so me kan ya eno na da ho mamu tietie no because for me I will not understand for one reason. Why a nation, a sovereign nation like this, nowhere in the world, I repeat, nowhere in the world, a civilized nation would allow the citizens to consume such a gullible information almost at what and at what cost and at what benefit. But then the ultimate goal to this, all right? The ultimate goal to this, the commentators of this, is to allow the citizens to what? To consume this sickness, to consume this ailment, and to consume something that is as a heavy detriment to their health, to their lifestyle, and then to their well-being. Then the question remains, if this is the order, again it begs the question, what will be the fundamental role in terms of the people living up to livelihood and to be able to do well? And not a buying any memo said you are buying a baby mukras or baby be creating an endowment for the people no not buying memo. But show the government has allowed a group of miscreants and charlatans, good for nothing fools, simply to work on the minds of the people and destroy them fundamentally. In the answer, na buy the crap, baby, so about the BBA momonocrano. Na sanko for na government na allow this group of people say monko say your citizens and destroy them for want of their own peculiar interest. Then I say anything, me de me be the baby. I stand to be corrected, but not necessarily to be corrected, because this small global world way. In fact, in any civilized nation, where how? Ali. Anyway, the next question.
Nti Obi Baby said that dam enkwamsha about 31st. And the pan at ya wo drew.
Mr. J, me say me war even one. But no a recycle prophecies we had. And I'll tell you why. Some of these prophecies we heard it a year ago. And so what they fail doing is to just recycle these prophecies and again bring it to let it surface 2026. That's all there is to it. Now I'll not go too far enough than to focus on one that perhaps maybe it's all the best show I don't know. Let me say the self-style, self-acclaimed, self-imposed, notorious Professor. Now who prophesy say Ubibiwa and when come here? Somebody is going to die. Is this a prophecy? But then again, fundamentally we know death is inevitable. And death is part of humanity created by God. It's only God can da me now you be party for us. It doesn't matter when time whichever way it is. See other religious groups and it's Muslims one of a unique calling of God. Na ade na mudi owo na iwia enti ba tio se enipa ni nwu a ya prophet ne beka se o me na me bomb pa enti ne wu
nsadam na obeka wa vet situation no
nipa nu wu a anyame asem na abem edi nkwasi asem ben no where I mean civilized country then yes anyway and your government upon government still seem incapable of reversing this stupid dirty trend. They continue to allow this to proceed and to go on, even under the Fourth Republican Constitution, 33 years, but still remain. Is the government not being reasonable enough? Is the government's consciousness seared? Or what is wrong with them? At least.
Ma oyo muhune de wa enda mi twa no but ma oyo muhune de debian 31st nkotin na wan honhom konkron no ohun nyama awan na menta ase no do otwena busumi nia ma otwom then 31st night hono ina sunsun konkron ni san awan menta ase set ase so ma menta ase
aha me menta ase ena me pese menta ase ena menta ase nso a enyi asem ni nani. I see, Kofi, these religious overtures must be forced out of the system, and we must eradicate it and do it quickly. So, program way can't be in full BTA. That's from my face. Oh, Obi can a group of journalists to be one way of life to always and at all times want to crusade. Certain religious bodies like the Christian fraternity now, say Christian fraternity. I almost say more because me free. Me who say a Muslim cleric be a kujina baby shankom. And me who say the traditionalist. I better a conform as if we should baby
Buddhist be. And I have Christian
there are many religious groups like what the Gnostics, the Buddhists, the Baha'is, any among count. They be all. A Christo some way pet and almost gaining that notoriety and almost gaining that idiosyncrasy. This is our way of life. I know now we probably see with the other. The only time that the God they worship can only speak and speak only on 31st December. It is a government in Benin. I believe that a time it's one too many, and time is overdue. And we are even running out of time. That they need to work at this one, clear this one, raise it up, destroy it, crush it, and crush it with the speed of being light. Like what we are seeing, and again, we've said this before. Even one of the African countries here, Rwanda, Rwanda, the capital, Kigali. Papa yi Paul Kagame. On yes, Sadiri Mapani Emma said a Jimmy for me lunatics and Moase for me Jimmy for foolish men of God. These are Eba be John, no my side when they now a Christopher no Bible now provisions are momina First Corinthians chapter 13 verse 8 what do you call and son of what Zechariah chapter 13 verse 4, 5, 6, 7. Nina so there provisions what their mom. As uncle for him a brief about woman bet the tiam mania for reading pay the same mipom in Miam Odoto Mirika. Friend say prophet or catch us no please. I'm not a prophet. Now me share me papa in Yabia and I say a cows be go on a me show. Then one said Sasamu no can why because the Bible says so.
Interesting. Still listening to Kwaku Annan on 101 with Enoch, and as Riley said, it's on my CTVGH, Frontline Ghana, and also on the Hawk TV. Kwaku, Yansha Abente, our friend, or Ebo Noah. Atinizin.
Correct.
Okay. Now, Ebo Noah, no, you move at it and one summon. I also a content creator, don't know what I can. You also a prophet or a day. But Anthony and Twenchen, Akakada or Babaye in Subi Bay in time that not do no one in Suri Bay into Osi Ako or ye and I mean away. Each time to do now if you're called by them than coaching. You say Buffino or Belbay and go Panafo Sabado, if you're bad them done in easy. Watch our Bente Yatum. The people say, oh, that's why you're no content, listen and watching you too. We create fear and panic, but found but down but then a walk. Now, me pada wiana da atro why I say o too much new to ma them 31st prophet if you are no too one number because a bono wanazo ye me huni danger no too much as compared to bia otum kasam no uye me show because bi ka to the boa onye adekito now these people ni nya one nam ho inti yehwe ebono wano kono ofoda wache no adambra kwando that's what adambra kwando abandon an embrana yudmo on the site na ada 31st if we one nam ho.
You know why? This way, it would have been a questioner as he had directed the command, the Inspector General of Police.
Okay.
Dr. C.O.P. Yehonu. Peter Yehonu. The second one, go to Minister of Information. You're very simple. Mubarak. And I think also, so these are the law enforcement agencies. Now we extend it to the judicial system where the laws are being have been enacted, have been implemented. Because our judicial system would take the law and then crack the law depending who is before the law. Staff 3 organogram institutions we must be questioned. Now no maybe say civil society groups civil society groups are more Ghana Kofi me catch every day shada na Google. How many civil societies do we have here in Ghana? This small nation country. Your population in Venezuela almost the same. Right? Natural civil societies you go you don't know why I'm saying. If you say civil societies, a drummer bank pan at all time. You are crusading on how Ghana would get its ass well put together, shake together, run over. About what? Politics, and your democracy, and then you say, as since say Ghana's democracy, Ejina say this almost civil society about the Kedi Manai young. And Ghana and I say saying. There are so many confrontational issues at Dawa. As I said, civil society is many because a deal money almost is your the monies, the kind of saying talk about them plenty. But see some no much your money no mudio. Now a bono was somehow didn't buy. Some rano etchino mumian twin woman in news. Yes, sir. Nase Bunoa or Beto Puma no wato Puma. It sounds like Oko Kinkai, Yawam Rani Bibrewa, and Rani Bibre Oko Kinka 1963 law say Ohonoma. It was enacted during the British era. All right, and Ohonoma Oko Kinkai, for example, the criminal code no so established by the PNDC law, and also a 1992 constitution. Nina articles na about 3 areas of where the laws of this country fundamentally prohibit these
kind of behaviors now.
Self-proclaimed men aiming to be prophesying and saying that God has spoken to them on one ear to come and tell us this. All of this, even NCA Act now, and also so a woman say all of this comes under what we call charlatanic advert. Anything there so that comes on the heels of say a critique hypnotism. Falsification eventually leading to that of what creating fear and panic, and also it's against the law. So Ebonowa notwithstanding, and that's of this style we should be Panama woman prophesying. By this time, the laws of this nation has bundled all of them, crush them, and let them go to jail and spend more time than even Mamia Grada. Mamia Grada adverts ben a mantis and oil. She was one person who was caught. Get all kinds of charlatanic adverts. Net Ghana Mrenimo. No meaning say, I don't know why. Yeah, can say Kofi Ejiri. Yes, go to NCA and let them pull the list and check all the television channels now winning. The television channels are winning, including the active ones being used by renowned media houses. Konako check it. These self-styled pastors, prophets and bishops, abe critique, abe airtime war. That you say at odd hours and omoyede and running charlatanic adverts we bra me double sika we ama we see me say then the most regrettable part is self-styled men of God we akototo channels ni nara making governments upon governments of this party, including some George or Tosi aware say channels ni nara au control ni na within the spectrum in the hands of self-styled men of God. Na kofi ade omode ye no onyankopon pe no nimu ade a omode side we omode ye o dangerous o very serious o ne ebeka say so ma ye bi kura no a it is time for us to call a seizure. Like we need to sanitize this country.
Absolutely.
We need to sanitize it. Please, okay? The welfare, the well-being, and the forwardness of this country will not, cannot, and may not dwell on allowing these bunch of crooks, animals, thieves, and useless men of God to come and control your national channels, and be prophesying to people, lying to people, and causing confusion among many Ghanaian families here and there every year. What is the meaning of that? Why? When you actually have law, it cannot be on the shoulders of say, Ghana is a secular state, therefore you are now a secular state, and who say your mind, you are destroying the social fundamental fiber of the nation. And by the time you be through with it, last year, some 2025, a brand helicopter crash here in a matter of hours, 72 hours thereof. Nipa self-style who feel basa useless and for I have no excuse. Oh, please excuse my word. I have no excuse for them. at a point, then I realized, now President Mahama, it was Asem Kesi Riba. So then, it then surfaced though like a decree. And one of his men, Elvis Free Ankara, and yet they take that position and say all prophecy be obi apaso de bebiano on fan call. And then no, Abam Adewi, I say a disappear. Yes, sir.
Na the more face no crown will be no crown. Na say you woman my opinion yanse biani. There.
Because I say is by extension you are allowing this stupidity continue to ride on the shoulders of
exactly, because that was a time and a period that will be by your back one day. You see, once you open that kind of door, all ththis kind of coffee nyaba system. Exactly. It's like you can cut the master. Then you invite him. Yes.
I so for far too long, but baby I make answer no so na me the mama say India. The politicians, this bunch of useless politicians are who may rule the fourth Republican Constitution for 33 years. We are yet to me. They need these your charlatans, and these charlatans also need them. I don't need any macano. Because why? Most of these men of God, for the fact is that they control crowd. It almost said no, they can. Any time and when it is time for elections, they go hide behind some of these men of God. It's our members who TSRO, Omodiana members, no mere, woman to Abama. Why? I or not as or soft one and step seven previous. DHS crowd will see ya and the Nala Braca. We see who. But see, Antonia won't nimshi, ni pafunsa, or nimshi. Na politician wako school nim debe. It is in this global world way. Here's our spirituality way. And common sense keke. Do what the people want, and the people will just give you power. For the people to renew your mandate, that's not and cannot stand on the altar of spirituality. No. But no mugu answer. It's really be brain and me boba winim. Chokwa. Very,
very interesting for another day. Very interesting.
Politicians need to material into politicians need winning.
And you know this in the Christian Council now one me I really don't fantastic. Look, I'm confused about a whole lot of things. So
yeah. One among such men of God are on Pesadi way. Just after 31st, we announced the 31st crown or years out. So shade the way and manner he has lashed out, on his own men of God. Some of his own men of God.
Oh yeah, I've watched the tape. Yes, I have.
It's so unique.
And kind of perfect.
The first time or yes I do it. After say or yes I don't know. You see, and I love it such that when some of these men also join, the train, say yenyesa niemfen crashes anime. Maybe may she share a leader, sa leader no, kofi obenya that alacrity and that prowess. No beba, no oba, or the emra Ghana mrano a cassetia sadeno, or the basic who say bam, the only first time as I do ABC or Ghana, the ex-wa Inspector General of Police, Kufu Dampare, and all the BBC beto wa. Men fan say, and no sa time no. Obekaya say ye ne 31st and be hwe nkomka ebinom obisi ono ni Ghana asase so the laws cannot find him wanting and some just say inkwasem bebre inkwasem na doso Ghanaians be ye ka Ghana na wutie mentie ni just like that we can all form cell unit kakran ni yen kwintie saade no ukwakoto we in the global south where development dimirika in the global east north mirika na wo prediako na wo your men of God abwabwa nipo we ahye dem wo na mo ye here baba ikikoma gadusa iko braka ko
lekususu
what is the meaning of
oh my word one with Kwaku Annan, always interested having this beautiful conversation with the vociferous general. I call him the legendary Kwaku Annan. Continue, please. Oh, bete pa lekususu. Ma jesu dada. But you see, Mr. Ibuno wa no demina. was no judge because all these 31st prophet in and more. Oh, maintain one I say, why was it up? Even though you try your best possible to give a detailed explanation, but said I'm not that. What's that? Can't no Jano, not penny baby fat.
I tend to agree with you on that
So Jano penny baby
because
fat.
if the likes of the Usubembes and whatnot who prophesy lifestyle prophecy, lifestyle, and it's as equal as say no one. You're ready, but you see, no one again. The AMA law enforcement for office ABO Mujina Sudan say a broad cancer. Quite a number of people from neighboring countries and beyond.
Mabo hopper, Mabo,
It's
Mabo.
almost that and no a bit disturbing, pretty much disturbing or again being on us for.
I don't know, make I'm coming to that is this, Ghana Hana Yawo,
Yeah.
and Agrada. Sisika gari wasem kofu faka from a himfa disika kwed wakada nti okita 300 Ghana okuma yin 30 million ana 300 million mokita 300 million okuma yin 30 billion chere wokwai mami scan mu nia fefefe Ghana ha na yewo abenti bi also friend Dr. UN acheche kraba na de odi bimpo mu wa speaker of parliament oje echunda padi ayazana obiala oyi fini page na aze or chakraba feeding bottle nini a chiche nini a yaze Ghana ha na yezan so yewo na bente nowa ti se waka kuku Samson and so bopo assistant ni mo bobo buda so question me bi sane dan nan kasa Ghana footing me food binom na other neighboring countries so no abade pa na ehwe ho yen na yes they blame themselves star prophet nazi na team food abade pa na ho yimpa dis ni na adwena e beten wa obi ayen no content be ka asem na be jedi na afa card ndem bria ye womi dem nyame nya abotu mesi
Yeah, fundamentally, there is something that is wrong with the mind of these people of color. These people of color, and I mean people of color, black people, before, Adibiha beginning right from the day and suddenly developing in the middle of the centuries. So no, it's all kind of histories, who said Christianity rode to the corridors of Africa 15 centuries ago. Came, dropped the Bible, and that ritual exchange in Azevo, and after that, they just went away. And again, when we all know, say yes, when they came, the black people actually knew God already and what we're doing. And again, there was also the black man's fear for the fact that God exists and therefore we must do things and do them right. It was only when the Europeans introduced their God who looks like them, not like us. Okay? And all the features about their God, who apparently was described to be a fine man, and then they describe evil to be that of us black people with a horn and a tail, no problem. And then the black man consumed this philosophy. Now, having consumed this philosophy going forward, they made us again feel inferior and to understand that this is our way forward. Right then, they started building churches and whatnot, including then after the church simply became a special purpose vehicle. Right from there came the transporting black people. By that time, Kofi, they have consumed, manipulated, and I've said this constantly over and over, that be more mindful of the man who uses a message to conjure message, control your mind, your subconscious celebrant, and lower you down, and derail you out of your confidence and your ability to be able to rise to whatever. Because for it is the mind we serve the Lord, and the mind is the battleground. So they constantly stood on our minds. They brainwashed us badly that this word constantly being used. It's true. Gradually, then we have to accept and buy into their conceptualization of religion. They succeeded in any way, and it's been over what? It's been over several thousand years ago. Even if you do the calculation from 15th century and now, that's if you do the mathematics, the subtraction from 15th century and now 21st century, the subtraction, what is it? It's about 6 centuries Christianity has been here. Question remains, what fundamental impact has it made, make on us? Nothing, zero. It's all what? Retrogression. And so you can see the demeanor of the black person so low in IQ, low in confidence, low in self-esteem, and low in everything But the black man, I'll tell you, if you study the ancient Egypt philosophy, we were the first people to what? To construct. We were the first physicians. We were the first to study astrology and astronomy, eschatologists and esoterics. We were made in special way. So right then, guess what then happened? Then they started transporting us to the Western world, the Caribbeans and other places through their special purpose vehicle called Christianity. And which church began the transportation? It was the what? The Church of England, presided by who? The Queen of England. Again, yasa, asori kesia ne wu biasia. Ese boni pa obane. Ne Church of England, and a two sana mono first. Now, baby, Sasenti Yamesun, and Modiba Yasmo Yankopon, and a mobile society equayanqua. Namuri Modio or some side they share Namoka. No. Black man has been made simply not to look for any wealth and any good stuff, including golden. But you are made to understand that the gold, the diamonds, and whatnot is up in the heavens, and so therefore, okay. This was also orchestrated by another King Leopold of Belgium. In 1835 or so. And the people of Congo destroyed the Congolese. He killed almost about 15,000 or more Congolese by way of trying to establish religious artifacts, religious whatever to the people of Congolese for. Bonia Christosom womudi Africa no Kofi Ejiri young president and then say now one of our own yankasi Daniel say after 1838 almost the abolition of slave trade now yankasa say no one of our own this is the media enko wiase ne yankasa one of our own asen akono wakosa sade na brunini debate no no akofa say ono nso de ba betie obe yes ade de tie ono ani nya bibini nti da and only was self-style crooks, thieves, criminals, rogues, and more for asofo no mbukroma ebia mo bishops no na asefo obi team say they arise be strong and march forward for it is the council of Jehovah that shall stand. Hey, stop this with crooks, bunch of thieves and crooks.
Oh my God. Too arts in the power.
What you mean say now rise, oh my soul, be strong and march. Why?
Oh my word. SFP.
And if security forces not
yes. My final question on this religious related issues is going to be on the fact that you being a vociferous broadcaster, one would have expected that some of these prophecies would be about you, but interestingly, none of them mentioned you. Does that surprise you?
Okay, but I wouldn't say prophecy though, but one of my adversaries, my adversary, who from nowhere surfaced in the blues. Now, on what can I say to her? MC Yabani, okay. I quote, Kwekwana de Makrashino. I wouldn't say there's a prophecy.
There's not a prophecy.
No. We a declaration. And we are only simply going to give the self-style of Usubemba. Winning and not so as a maybe Nyansapobia, Shadebia Meka, Sasso for the GHS crowd, so Usubemba Nyankodi. Now, so Kofi Udiagra, we are Professor Emeritus, whatever. When we saw back some the tour, I ran to the Mecrashino. One for timelines and 1 more days, 1 more weeks, 1 more month, but also Mecrasho. In the 2 is here by any divine saying, Yamia Shishi Biato so Kwaku, saying the same Puna Betrono is answering me Nipa. Sadly, Pia pet was anyway, Baba country.
We claiming about claiming.
I am making said, oh, yeah, examples be brace on or crash it. Mamia grada wound to me.
Oh, that one for the
and when there is an available document, a prepare bet church quiet fast or wound to me called Gini Sika. If we the friends and the Exim Bank, or Kwaku says or the then or special purpose vehicle then or the coin, or the company then or the coin. Now, why who were the top MPP people are not Michigan? Among Koji scan, no one in the D can be, including the former IGP, on reports I would want to produce, which may produce our reports including allegations I would want Yediti and so on. One Kasa took what certain laws into his own hands. These allegations were made of killing, mass killings, including 7 Nigerians who were reportedly shot and killed. Reports including JB Dankwanumina death. Also produce one report, which media. Na ada njoma amano yesu odi eni so obehwe sa anem we na say papa no why we do many repentance dia na osofo bi be jira so oba beje that ato no so ono no ye na wo no betimi a wo wusu bempa na wo kasa asem ye dampare na ochi utu mu eye offense cantonment police station na so wo tumi bi a ene na say wo ye te say wo de Elijah ye example say Elijah command sisire e ma ne me fa nkura e ediko na de na wo no prison one shout no prison doors in MBA near now we share them in about 1 hour no we should be past started Johnson
that one I will tell you
no I've said it before.
Yes, I know but I wanted the end drop for
meanwhile we in Yankupon Paul Acts chapter 15 verse 16 40 Paul net salas ne dem wo no woman la hwan ye di o keke na the walls of the prisons na me ade ni na no eden ebie earthquake na who die ye muti wona mo ye dede no or the hwan ba be is o command 63 now the command nyata ne nsebo a ono to na de bia o hye nkom se an MPP lose and na wo mudi ki ni koma jata no na jata de ma fence lion no and a lion de ma odenchem ya kasa
anyway 101 quick sorry for some of the words
what is that
how we are with us 101 with quick and always on fire I mean forgive us so maybe I mean
okay.
Oh, my word. I believe you, the listener, the viewer, you're enjoying yourself, and this is the new edition on my CTV GH, my Frontline GH as well, or my Frontline Ghana, and also on the Hawk TV. Subscribe to all of these channels so that you get more, info. And that is enough for this very segment on religious-related activities. The next is going to be on politics, then we go to international arena. But before I bring the part 2 of this, Mankasa mention Gomde, Yibu Regenery, Ijole Bani ye jacket to crowd from Kukuni side, Ubuja, iti Masham Comnery, Damanoti, or Bohundo baby pepe. And I don't call you Muhune there, like Enankasa, Impa Yehude every year piano, then you may see, Sibu, Muski last year, Yonko Fuwi, I don't happen in another way. Disaster BBC. Accident BBC you rap for fufu ya na ya change that you say MPB if you just so
and no who say so be professor
so the madi ya da me hu why yimpa anyway was no bia na adwen me no fam kekre bi nti that is the end of the part 1 let's look at the part 2 politics no ya no kekre bi MPP me room kekre bi you can just brush it off when they remove today but why there one politician be extremely dirty? Because if you look at the 90s, edu buanyo do science someone that kind of politics were at that time. I be seeing Akufo-Addo and Kufuor and Apreku and all those next the kind of internal politics works. Like very dirty. What is happening?
Kofi, what is happening? It's as what is happening and what you are capturing. And the NPP internal politics for me is one too many, and I am overwhelmed of what is happening. Again, taking a cue from all these personalities, women now have distinguished themselves colorful body politicking. But now, women who are yes, and many of them were not nowhere to be found.
True.
When the party was crawling, was gasping for breath,
very true.
Needed people to work their ass off to put the party on shape, except the behavior. And
so dirty.
Yeah, canwa womunti no. We face there is a future. Future be no. Na Ghana na say any future. Who party no future. And the go we must main can be brave. Me sure say in the next couple of days to come. That's it. Flag bearer. Flag bearer. No, flag bearer. No. I still do not see MPP making any. I do not see MPP going for glory in 2028 elections.
Okay.
That's so. It's about picking up a leader, not one leader, and rally around the leader, and then another 4 years.
Interesting. Anyway, we'll come to, the NPP another time. Let's go to the NDC. Fifi Kwete also made a very strong, point, powerful point, calling those, guys who are, or the NDC members who are calling on President Mahama to go for the third term, calling the sycophants. Some harsh. You could see that he was very, very angry at the time when he was delivering his message. What is your opinion on the matter?
My opinion about Fifi Kwete's delivery, I guess it was on 31st. So they were commemorating the ideals of the former elite flight lieutenant Jerry John Rawlings. I don't like Fifi, but I love him.
You and I both. You and I both.
I love Fifi Kwete.
Trust me.
that bold delivery. That's all there is to it. And I know that at this time, Fifi Kwete has incurred the displeasure of many people within the party. But those people now why incur my displeasure now? Kofi Edri, they are the latter day saints if one or maybe good party. My friend the friend of BB alias Tony Edu something be or war and a hobby. Oh, did he Fifi Kwete at them? But I don't know for how long he thinks that he's been in the party. And if you've been in the party, and so what? You see, let the Fifi Kwetes speak the truth, speak well, and let Ghanaians and the global world also know, say, Ahindie enye a dynasty. Ahindie enye ebusiebi enhu anaye hun konkonko ene edidi ahindie. Ahindie enso ye nini say ene me Kwaku Annan menye baby ejina ana eno Kofi Ejiri enye baby ejina no wafre Kwaku abase ni apeni nto de me be sure ye bibia na ye kwa baby sa na bia ba stempo it is a Fifi Kwete bi na no akasa asem no I will tell you if Fifi Kwete sub-7 prediasa eni ne kura bia magana fo a is Ejiri this is one of a million of Fifi Kwete's truth that he has ever and ever told, the NDC as a party, the NDC as a government, and the entire Ghanaian as a whole. Fifi Kwete cannot, will not, and may not be wrong. On Mahama, Aden. Now, you see, when Fifi Kwete said this, now see, Fifi Kwete has incurred some displeasure of some people. So then what it means is that behind the scenes, you not just say, a minimum nesse, an ambition, the Mahama, uncle saying, third term, uncle non fanidie.
But they are Ghana.
We'll come and take care of them because it's absolutely unknowing. These are some of the things that precipitating military insurrections and uprisings in many of the nations around Africa. Now, from last year, Aden, you the Akwaso sub-region Moana, Ghana now a country be and you see one more. We are a strategical and we are a nerve center and the epicenter of many of the the embodiments of African region. Right from what Kwame Nkrumah did, AU and then ECOWAS. Inti yankasa na yete won enime bi a esisi wa amayaman so Africa ye kutiano. We cannot be seen to be what actively being seen working or doing same. How? Joma mega so call third term na ayeden. And no be free him fa. Ade oye na simbe yade man. Why? Into obeying me sa on my way mu and including even the NDC ni mu say tabi ebetimi am Joma ma betimi ayede obetimi akofa moon no aba beto Ghana ha. Ora the time na so ye and obey any there. No the time aso na so ko. Asemwasa. Why?
Interesting.
It's Mama repository of all knowledge and the goodwill of Ghana. And they say, that common sense will be anyway for Tisa Ghana and Persia Kaduguna. But and yet, democracy is gradually failing, including the Western countries, all the powerful nations, including the world power. Democracy is about to fail. what check history? Democracy came in 1630. Democracy will take off. Ebe free and the folk be saying it's a me and fire will and shit democracy and opening the only means and the only elemental channel that lead to the success of nations around the world, including Ghana. Why? If you go to Bakana Waka.
Let's cross over to the international arena. The country that a lot of people call them the beacon of democracy, and others also many a time call them the almighty United States of America, invaded Venezuela. Share your matter on this, or share your opinion on this very matter.
Anyway,
this is your show, so run it.
Good one. Well, mention same phrase, United States. Yes, me I'm in Crawford. I'm a serious ally to the United States. But the U.S. government, particularly the U.S. foreign policy, they share or walk on the same line. Now, the case study or the very issues hovering around all the global news wires.
Okay.
And that's Venezuela. More informations are now emerging that COVID, this wasn't simply a military victory, Debbie. This was a catastrophic security failure.
Wow.
Of course, has been what with the Venezuelan leader and his bodyguard. No. The question everybody Abisane said. This is one of the things there. How did the United States pull this off? How did American special forces also penetrated one of the paranoia security apparatus in the Western Hemisphere? The answer those multiple sources, of course, from MSI side, have revealed some operations, and the answer is as old as what warfare that you and I know. The trail from within multiple intelligence are now confirming members of what Maduro's personal security detail, the men supposed to protect his life and what take a bullet for him rather handed him over to the American forces.
Interesting.
Sure.
Very.
And these were elite bodyguards. One more else from who pick a bullet for him, and of course also a lawyer to him, who were meant to take a bullet, rather. Yet in the end, they did what? They took American dollars instead. And now, at a point from a certain intelligence source within the White House, about 1:45, not Caracas, which is the capital of Venezuela, time, Maduro was at a secure location in the capital. Sources indicate that he was at one of the safe houses, to avoid any assassination attempts. And may I say, the location changed frequently, except top-level military generals knew about those locations.
Okay.
So, you see, those Latin Americans or we are quite sharp people. They are close to America and they know most of the Americans, sometimes mischievous political games they play, luring them to all kinds of things, and eventually they take them down. Now, here the story takes its dramatic turn. When the U.S. forces arrived in, they were not to fight Govi. They were not to fight. They just walked in. They just walked in the inner perimeter, and they told the bodyguards on which your friend is saying Maduro to stand down straight up. Now, security systems, be say cameras, alarms, and many other stuff were all were disabled. Alarms were deactivated. And when the U.S. forces reached Maduro's quarters, they found 2 bodyguards at post, and these men were immediately surrounded. Abraham Maduro, no, said no, one of those such military drills. Only then to realize, the men in the uniform standing in his bedroom were not Venezuelan forces, but were U.S. Special Operation Force Delta. Into an office, one of those special operations with his men. But in no time, Maduro came to realization that, of course, this is the moment of what? Betrayal. You can connect the dots and the T's to that of another military general in this country that you did a documentary on, who experienced same, and that is why General Echampo, who was betrayed by his chief of defense staff.
Defense, yes, and all his chiefs as well.
F.W.
Akufo, Wellington, and all those Palace School. Yeah.
When I'm doing the fast and Kofi Papa, they found 2 bodyguards at post, and these men immediately surrounded them without.
So before you continue, would you call it an internal coup kind of thing or a takeover? All right, go on.
The bodyguards will not even fire a single shot. The entire extraction took approximately 12 minutes, and Maduro
and his wife, 12 minutes.
Yes, were on board the U.S. fighter jet. By the time the Venezuelan defense minister woke up to the scene, the figure, the president himself, found out that the president was missing. The United States, fighter jets have crossed into the international airspace. So, question: how did the United States manage to flip the Maduro's bodyguards? The answer lies in a sophisticated intelligence operation which began a year ago. The United States, working through CIA and defense intelligence agencies, consistently been working around the bodyguards to figure out some vulnerabilities. Some vulnerabilities, six in the U.S. intelligence agencies. Baako kra de ono na memfa ne se neba eho atochima kakra wo mu ntimi enye na operation e wo Venezuela ho nti na see a fly neba the friend say United States. Based on the agreement, the U.S. intelligence agencies, CIA defense intelligence agencies, any bodyguards in some form of agreement, and Kofi, mind you, is one of a crystal warfare fashionable by the United States. Say, anytime the U.S. would jump in and pull their aggression towards a sovereign nation with their precision strike, by the time they will start and end, it has always been the fashion there. It's an enemy within.
The enemy within.
It has always been that of what? An enemy within. And the enemy within has always been the fire. The overthrow of your first president Dr. Kwame Nkrumah was a case study we know now. How the CIA managed to topple Nkrumah. What was Nkrumah's crime? Nkrumah's crime was all about the fact that he tried to what? Pull an independence for the entire African region. That was Nkrumah's crime. Nobody I challenge any political scholar. Tell us, what is it that Nkrumah did that incurred the displeasure of the Western world? It was because he wanted to establish the total unity of Africa as a united Africa.
And that was not going to help the interest of viewers.
But then again, fundamentally, if the Western world also believe, say, they want the rest of the world to ride on their shoulder of so-called what? Their first world civilization of democracy, then would you therefore say what Nkrumah was doing was against democracy? How? How would that? Why would you say then what Nkrumah was doing was against democracy? No. But Americans have always believed in a certain philosophy and ideologicals that we come from this angle as well, self-interest seekers all the time. And then after that, we will never maintain any permanent friendship, whatever, because we believe in a certain interest that would inure to our benefits. We use a democracy as what? As a face mask, and to go in, lift up, destroy, and then we move away quietly. You have also, Mr. Jiri, you've also done a documentary on another nation where the Americans went there and caused a major havoc, and that's Iraq. All right, there is a parallel between Venezuela and Iraq. That you know. All right, today let's ask ourselves the questions: what is the current state, the political, the geopolitics of Iraq within the region of the Arab world?
Very sad.
What is it like?
Very sad.
And that of her allies.
Libya and all those other Arabic countries.
Why? You see, movie, you know, in penny for more America, many more soldier from penny for to say, friends and Colin Powell, one of the finest military officer, named a 5-star general, came to United Nations, the UN Security Council, and lied. Diatro, between Trantro said Saddam Hussein possesses logical weapons. Logical weapons in Wahifa. Mubedada, events, International Atomic Agency, IAEA, for Omukoye, then Ibia. And so, still, not George Bush, he abused the U.S. fundamental constitutional Article 1, which empowers the president to go to war abroad, which then says that any war be a president in Obekono. It must be approved overwhelming majority from Congress, just as Trump has also. And so look at the Americans, Nangasa Omwede, dictators of democracy, how continuously abusing their own fundamental constitutional Article 1, which empowers the president to go to war abroad. Then again, you can also zero down to the UN Security Council Charter 1 and 2, which also endorses the supremacy of every nation around the world, must be respected in accordance with what? International law and diplomacy. Into the Cuba, Venezuela. It makes sense to all and sundry. But I will tell you that this is the playbook of Washington. And it has always been the playbook. The playbook of Washington will not stop today, tomorrow. This also tells us that the world order must be rewritten again. It must be rewritten. The next the world is about to face, even though still global scholars continue to, avoid this very analysis. Third World War is not imminent, but I foresee Third World War in that direction. Because as in the case of Venezuela, now go down in terms of in terms of minerals and the Miniade. Venezuela controls what? The largest oil deposit. All nations around the world. Venezuela and Kwaku are saying over 300 billion barrels of crude oil. What it means is that combine Saudi Arabia and the United States, both oil reserves still enroute even Venezuela for oil or more. That's the case. Again, China takes about 68% of Venezuelan oil. America takes, I think, 26%. So between China and the American, why not standing the great chance of losing? It is China. Now, by any form of whatever, what do you think the global powers will be seen doing? They'll be shaking themselves, particularly China, because of how drawn the oil issue. Now, make us say out of the 300 billion barrels, Venezuela and only 1 million barrels per.
Wow.
1 million barrels per and or mining or refining. Now, Venezuelan oils ubisa experts no make say and also the hardest crude oil if you refine and easy a lot goes into it. Now, some believe that intelligence reports be unity, but say is one of it. The U.S. government in the first say no, or push him. And of course, I'm so my can put it. Most of the American strategic oil companies, Shell, Enron, so Munkugu, no more cotton share oil, no so. Let's just say, wow, or more mining oil. No. But I'll tell you that the pushback are urban. So pushback way, if not properly managed, at your how can see ever to areas.
Wow.
America's interest has always been enshrined in their ideologicals and their way of life. Iraq, say they want to bring civilization to Iraq. Civilization, the people of Iraq were engaging in all sorts of lifestyle, night clubbing, sexual activities and so forth, which is extremely prohibited in the Sharia law because they are Muslims. Any friends saying the Shiites, any friends saying the Shiites, the Muslims, and then the other groups of war. It's America is so autonomous. American presidents or my being Nara Kofi, when we did any other nations, so predominantly have been Republicans. Check the circumstances under which U.S. to share Panama, so Eclair why Noriega. Trace the background to Noriega. Noriega did a lot of work, cocaine business with top U.S. defense and politicians, including some members found in the U.S. intelligence agency, the CIA, were doing cocaine with Noriega. Na cocaine is sneak differ through the fence and the Panama Canal. But guess what? Americans use Noriega the SR. At the same time, no matter Noriega swat was said that they will hoist Noriega as a military or a general of Panama. And one must send a crack. And some regime change. The fashionable fascist kind of, a playbook of Washington. And for me, I think that the U.S. government should see it's outmoded. It's outmoded. Because consistently overthrowing constitutionally legitimate governments around the world. For me, it's untenable. In 1949, Kim Ko of Korea, opposition leader, U.S. CIA for a unit to form. In 1950, CIA neo-Nazi offense and hate list of more than 200 political figures in West Germany to be put out of the way. In 1950, Sukarno, president of Indonesia, 51 Kim II, the strong prime minister of North Korea, who you need to form. In 1953, Mohammed Mujahideen, prime minister of Iran, who you need to. In 1950, Claro M. Rakto, Philippines opposition leader. In 1955, Jawaharlal Nehru, Prime Minister of India. In 1957, Gamal Abdel Nasser, President of Egypt. In 1959-1950, Norodom Sihanouk, leader of Cambodia. 1960, Brigadier General Abdel Karim Qasim, leader of Iraq. 1950-1960, José Figueres, President of Costa Rica. 1961, Francis Papa Doc Duvalier, leader of
Haiti. Papa Diouf.
Okay, 1961, Patrice Lumumba, Prime Minister of Congo. 1961, General Raphael Chijalo, leader of Dominican Republic. The list goes on and on and on and on. Ovi, Adenti and America, Mube Genis and try it. I don't think that is too good enough for the U.S. government. Much as some of us hold the U.S. in high esteem in terms of, seeing America as the world power, and in terms of also seeing America as the global policing. I think that the policing AI too much.
It's becoming too much.
Also too much, because nations around the world power, Russia, and Ukraine, baby omujina enye ade emujo America for one amojiji offense musu so Russia mun kakra in that diplomatic channels na man maybe I say near Rasputin or tete nyama say ba enu kunu e wo wa no say no
na kakra be
obet mudi agra obet threaten nuclear warfare. No. So, or the nuclear bemo, na we are saying. Say nuclear. Let's say one. We are saying atemuda no one here come. And you see, we have Venezuela. They are cost over. Met the Americans no so here na say. Just say, we believe it's akwe. We have the charges of Mediama Venezuela. Nicolas Maduro. Yes, narco offense. Charges
narcotic related,
exactly, including weaponries. The only wife near respectively. Makes sense. It doesn't make sense. International law no exists saying. What does the international law say? Now, the U.S. again also accuses him there. ono wa empty the prisons. He has emptied his prisons and discharged all those Venezuelan narcotic prisons back into United States. And I said, offloading them so United States. The U.S. government also makes a report, still of course verifiable by what we are yet to. And they say, American government claims that every year, Biano, will lose about 300 people or more. Not every year, it's a quarter or so. Will lose about 300 people dead, completely dead through what? Crack cocaine. And not just or by statistics, so America crackers or cause civil war. It is not by any stretch of negligence that U.S. government is going to lose about 300 of its citizens or nationals through warfare. No. So why then America will sit down and allow their citizens to die through what? The exporting of cocaine from Venezuela to America, and therefore, or by cracking it down. But America, no, they or the BC.
Always there's an angle to whatever move that they make. Yeah.
America has a way of their proxy war. Into proxy, behind the proxy, now we who say, no, Charlie, we need to oil and oil is one. Into I ask some Cassiana, Ekana Eba. Iraq, the Mafam with you.
But for this one, it looks like if there's going to be a pushback.
Yeah, Mafam with the Pearl Harbor, Mafam with the Ewa Hemfa, what's that? Vietnam, Vietnam, damages in catastrophe, U.S. government, and most of fire, and many Obia Bob one who, Obia Bob one. Indeed, I am still urging the world powers and through diplomacy channels and say, remember Nyama a bit softer and how Biana and then we will see the skyrocketing of oil, Namia, the Ghana, Zukrayete, oil, ya move to a Venezuelan Western region. Ubi says that was any too. Now, there was sense in the Ghana, including even the Western region. So politicians are phone brabafu, criminals.
That's interesting.
You letter this they are condemning America and then fine.
Very, very sad. But
Ghana, mama, a poodle of the United States. Ghana, be poodle. Why? If you allow your territorial airspace be, violated by the U.S. surveillance aircraft, and more a Nigerian and any other kind of thing.
Thank you very much for this elaboration, this education. And like I said, this is your show, Run It, and you've done excellently well by delivering on this international related issue with Venezuela. Listener and viewer, one-on-one with Kwaku Annan, vociferous ace investigative journalist, who happens to be running or who runs an investigative magazine show on CTV Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8 to 10 p.m. Currently, the show is on break on TV, but it's still running online. My CTV GH and Frontline Ghana as well, and also on the Hawk TV. And what you are listening now is one-on-one with him. We've touched on some very important topics. We looked at some other interesting areas from religion to politics, now to this international related matter. My last question to you, Kwaku, and we have to do this briefly because of time. Is democracy a scam?
When you say a scam is an understatement.
Okay. What would you use for? What word would you use for democracy?
I don't even know the word I'll use, but democracy has failed the entire universe. Like I said, it was enacted in 1630 and it's about to phase off. Now, when you even check the United States, the Western world, the pace setters of democracy and the America facing between Trump and any adversaries in the one typical example in the recent history. In the democracy, for me, nobody Magana and Yanadrin say, oh, and a democracy in the because Ghana and democracy in here practicing. No, you have a fraternities. Fraternity for classmates, schoolmates, and a fraternity can fraternity no a bit about say fraternity no NDC and MPP we fraternity but Jabaka NDC and MPP share or so even in terms of ideologies, but a fraternity na beke komu na ho abom o she NDC enso no wodi ye e wa MPP ni mo o wa MPP enso no wodi ye e wa NDC ni nti mo bia mfa neni nto say democracy bi ye adwuma debi e mo a omo school for classmates for old school when dey sa no didi demand no me nti mo bi nkase yesua any Western democracy there. I've always said and maintain until that Africa will be emancipated. No, the 3 or 4 fundamentals will be that Africa must coin her own one. Our democracy must epitomize, must elucidate, and must pivot on one, our ideologicals, and that's what our philosophy. Inculcating in this is what our source of religion, culture. Our source of religion, culture, and our socio-economic and political outlook. Any account. And yet, we embrace this foreign ideologicals. We belong to the leftists and we belong to the rightists, both socialist and capitalism. Give it to them there, not here in Africa.
Thank you very much for your time. Well, viewer and listener, sorry for the background as well, because where we are is a holiday season, so we are somewhere. So whatever thing you hear in the background, never mind. Linear account also. Kwaku Annan and Atwitwon komo in the day or Hawk TV do my CTV so do on the front line. So I'm going to let Kwaku Annan give us the handles again, so that each and every person following will know when and where to subscribe. So Kwaku, you are the floor.
Great one. This program can be heard live. As far as my co-host Eno Kofi Ejiri is concerned, of course, today we're picking this great interview, great questions, and great dimensions of the other, both local and foreign politics. But this program can be heard live on my CTVGH and the Frontline Ghana, and of course the Hawk TV both. Of course, my listeners and viewers now, as I say, Frontline will return to the screens on CTV very soon, and we are coming with the biggest expose. Yatunidin, the workers of iniquities. Of course, expose we will capture renowned men of God in this country. I repeat, renowned men in the body of Christ. The bonini, the money, medie, isikadie. The abuse of God's name. And I'm near there. And never me and son of a seek a dear abuse of God's name.
I want to one yasem no. Lekususu. I really enjoyed this, Kwaku. So thank you so much for this very opportunity.
Welcome.
And thanks also for watching and doing the listening. Please do subscribe and share. And it's bye for now. Bye bye.